I did want to ask you about your timeline, like that morning of, I'm used to hearing on that February 24th morning
Hmm.
that people wake up to the sound of
Yeah,
explosions. So yours is a bit different because you wake up to the sound of husband on a
my
phone
husband
call.
talking on the, well, yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't wake up that easily. Like I'm notorious for sleeping through, I don't know, like there are stories my husband keeps telling people, like I don't know, we're camping and there was such a giant storm, our tent was nearly blown away, and she woke up in the morning and was like, what storm? So I don't, like, it depends again, but I don't, yeah, I don't wake up easily. So that's why I woke up to that. But like, I mean, technically, it's like I woke up to shelling, but or missiles exploding through my husband's,
Talking.
hearing that.
But he probably
Yeah.
wasn't talking loud. He
No,
probably
I think
wasn't.
he was talking. No, no, no. It's not like he was whispering or anything, because he was the one. And I'm not. See, I can't kind of brag about being that person who started calling everybody and getting them to move. But my husband was that person. I think he woke up like earlier than a lot of other people in our, I mean, in our like circle of friends and family. And he was the one who called like some people and woke them up literally by saying, "Did you hear that? Do you know that the one who started, like, get your ass off the bed," and I don't know, pack stuff. So it may not have been even his first call, really, but I don't know. I haven't asked. Yeah. So yeah, technically didn't wake up to the explosions, just because I'm not a light sleeper.
Right. So then, right. So then, I mean, so your husband's trying to get people moving. So you moved quickly out of Kiev then, I guess.
Well, not that quickly actually, because we have a way to really, we didn't have a car, so it's not like we could get into our car and just drive out as fast as we, you know, got packed. And obviously, it's not like there was any public transportation to use or anything at all, because people were just, I don't know, it was chaos. So he was talking to his parents because like he was kind of discussing what to do, and they decided that, his father would drive across the whole city because they live like in the other, like a completely opposite end of the city. So he would drive, pick us up, and then we would go together to them or to where we spent this whole time in the kind of in the village. And so it took him some time to drive across the bridge. Like it's a long way. It's 30 kilometers, I think, because it's the opposite side of the
Which
city.
part of Kiev
And
was he in for?
he was in that part, the Borshahivka, which is well, it's that the side where Irpin Bucha is kind of, but not really. It's a bit more to the south. So it's that side, and we were in like on the left bank, fairly close to Borisky, where the airport is.
Right.
Like from us, it takes, I don't know, like 10 to 15 minutes to drive to the airport, if you have a car. So opposite sides. Yeah, so it took him, I don't even know how long, because I was not, following the time at that point. Probably took him about an hour to get to us, and by the time he got to us, we had packed, of course, put our cat into this like pet carrier and had our backpacks and stuff. We packed ourselves into the car, I don't know, drove out onto the fairly main road and got stuck in a completely, like, it was a dead traffic jam. It was not moving at all. We spent like 10 minutes, just like being stuck like that. Fortunately, there was a way to just, kind of leave the traffic jam, turn around and go home, which is what we did, because I guess if we had stayed in that traffic jam, it would have taken us, I don't know, like 4 hours to get to, my parents-in-law's home, because everything got gridlocked really quickly because everybody was like moving at the same time, obviously. Um, and there was one direction from the left bank. Everybody was going to the right bank, because left bank is the side where, it's closer to Russia and you want to get kind of away.
Right.
Um, yeah, so we got back home because we realized it was completely useless to try and do that. We were just being in a traffic jam. What's the point? We decided to wait until this whole thing has subsided a little bit. By this whole thing, I mean traffic. So we went, which is something we didn't do in the morning. So then when we came back home, we went to like a supermarket to get, as everybody, get some bread or whatever, because you expected that people would start stocking up, and you wouldn't be able to buy stuff. So we went to the supermarket. It was crazy. There were giant lines. People were just, they were buying everything, and we were not really even buying that much, because to me it felt I felt irrational to do that much, like, purchasing, because you just expected that, like, there would be stuff. What do you mean? Like, it probably, there would be a peak. The first days people would start buying everything, but then, we have a lot of things in stock, and yeah, I don't know. So we bought whatever we felt was necessary. We tried to take money out of the credit cards, because everybody, of course, started freaking out that at some point there may be no, internet connection. If there's no internet connection, you can't really pay with a card or pay pass or whatever. So we spent like an hour, maybe even two, in a line to an ATM, and then a couple of people before us, like when there were just two people before us, the money ran out, so it was like time wasted. So we went home. I don't know. We just repacked, because obviously, as I said, I hadn't packed my emergency backpack. So I did pack it like in the morning. I was sort of used to packing backpacks for going to Carpathians. And if you're imagining like the worst case scenario, there's nowhere to sleep. You have to have a tent and sleeping bag and all that. So I did pack it kind of intuitively, because I'd done it so many times, and I didn't even have to have a list to know what to put in there. But we did like repack, because it was still, panic packing. I remember it was such a weird, it was not a weird feeling, but it was a feeling like nothing I think I'd ever felt, when it's like, what you should do, like you should pack your backpack, what to put there, but it almost feels like you don't know what to do. You're feeling like this, like, nausea, because of, you just can't believe this is happening, and you're having to pack your stuff at 5 a.m. because you're actually hearing something that sounds like explosions with some frequency. I mean, not like constantly, but you, like, maybe you heard it once, maybe it was like, who knows what it was, maybe, I don't know, something exploded by itself. But then when you hear it like multiple times and then you see people writing stuff, oh, if I'm hearing that too somewhere else in a completely different part of the city, you're just freaking out, and you don't want to believe it. And yeah, I mean, yeah. So we repacked. We waited until like lunchtime, I think, and then we drove. It was much easier. There was some traffic, but it was lighter in the city, at least, because by that point everybody, I guess, mostly had left the city, and they were stuck in traffic outside, on the kind of exits. So we went to my parents-in-law's apartment. There we even considered maybe not going anywhere further, because when you're at home you don't want to go anywhere. I remember I felt like maybe we should just stay, and then we decided not to stay. We came to my husband's parents' home, and then mom was like, maybe we should just stay. So I guess it's just the thing when you don't want to leave home, because when you leave home it feels like you're, especially under such circumstances. I remember locking the doors, feeling like, okay, probably I'm never going to see this place again. I do remember feeling that. Like and you kind of want to take stuff, but you realize you can't really take the things you like just because you like them. Like, you have to take the things that are rational, like you have to be able to just put on the backpack and run or whatever, so that you don't have like bags and bags and a backpack here and a backpack there. So you're gonna have to leave stuff behind. I remember that I took I took some photos, like actual photos, because again, I thought, well, who knows, maybe I'm not gonna have my phone with me, so I'm gonna take like 10 photos with the people who are most important in my life, and I'm gonna like put them in a file and hide them in a place in my backpack. And the same, I remember that I have like a recipe book, which is like it's a big book, but it has these sheets that are, you can take them all. So I took all the photos of all the recipes, because I felt like, well, the recipes are important, and I'm never gonna remember them. And then I took the papers too and packed them in a file and put them in my backpack, because to me it sounded like, if I, how am I, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Earbud. So I remember I felt like that's knowledge I'm never going to be able to recover if it gets lost, because because you collect those over years. So yeah, but then we were at my parents-in-law's house. We kind of debated whether we should leave or not. We decided to leave, and we went to like this village where I was, which was about 50 kilometers south from Kyiv, towards like Dnipro or Odessa, I guess, somewhere that direction. Yeah, and we stayed there like this whole time.
Whose house was that?
That was my husband's grandma's house.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's where I first talked to you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was a little confused at first because, yeah, I didn't understand that there was the parents-in-law's house on the way.
Yeah, right. So there were.
But your parents were there too, is that right?
No, but my parents have been in Uzhgorod this whole time. They moved to Uzhgorod like 8 years ago, like
Okay,
in 2015, I guess they moved.
okay. I don't
Yeah.
know if I ever knew that. Maybe I did.
Well, yeah. So yeah, they've been here this whole time, and this is something we also discussed. Like, oh, maybe we should go to the parents because this is like the safest place to be. But then again, as I said, at that point we didn't have a way to just drive there because we had one car which was for us, and it was my husband's parents' car, and they were not going anywhere because their parents were staying, because it's not like you can just take a grandma, put her in a car and drive 10 hours with her. She's not doing that. Like um, she would say, over my dead body, like you can carry me out, but I'm not going there because it's my home, and what do you mean? We had these conversations, I remember, because things got hotter at some points. There was talk that there, like, our region would be next. I mean, not region, but like part of the Kyiv region would be next. And I remember having these really like panicky thoughts, like, maybe we should move. Like, people, what are you waiting for? Do you realize that if we don't move, like, and stuff starts happening, it may be too late to move? But yeah, we didn't, because you just had to make a decision to leave people behind, and I don't know how to make that decision unless I don't know, there are shells falling very close and you can see something. Probably then we would maybe then we would have decided something. Maybe then the grandmas would agree to go. But yeah, we were just lucky, as I said, that where we were, nothing happened.